Hello, I'm Jay from Volunteer Audio, and today I'm making a video to show you some of the latest lights from Custom Dynamics. These are in the Shark Demon series. These are turn signals. They are daytime running lights. They are as bright as fog lights, and they're on a bracket to go on your new 2024 and newer Road Glides. All plug and play. So I'm going to show you this particular one is smoked. It has a white daytime running light / fog light and an orange turn signal. They also make it in selective yellow, but I'm going to show you how to install them on this bike. I'm going to tell you more about the lights, and at the end I'm going to show you just how bright and how much more visibility you can add by adding these to your new Harley. All right, so let's open up our new Shark Demon series front turn signals from Custom Dynamics and see what all we get in the box. All right, so when we open it up, we're going to expect to get 2 lights, so let's see what we have here. All right, so here's one of our 2 lights. You'll see they come already mounted on the mounting bracket for the fairing. And it already has a plug-and-play harness attached to it. Here's our second light. These are black. This particular one that I'm holding in my hand, these are a smoked lens. They're going to have a white daytime running light that's really as bright as any fog light you've ever seen, but it also is going to have an amber flashing turn signal. Again, you're going to have a left and a right. They're going to be plug and play. You're going to end up with this T harness. So this T is involved if you're going to do more than one set of lights. So if you're using a Shark Demon headlight system and you're using those side marker turn signals, you're going to need this to connect the turn signals that are next to the headlight and the ones on the side of the fairing. Remember, these are going to go at the side of your fairing like it would have factory on those 2015 to 2023 Road Glides, and we're missing that on these new 24 and ups. We're also going to get 2 bolts. So if your bike has the CVO side, not a side skirt, but a side fairing, that lower fairing on each side, you're going to use all factory hardware. If your bike does not have those fairings, you've got a hole there that doesn't have hardware, so they send you what you need to mount it. So it looks like we've got a good set of directions as well. It's going to talk about how to take the fairing apart. It's going to go over some things that I'm going to cover here in video. So let's get over to our 2025 Road Glide. I'll show you how to take the fairing off, and then we'll get into installing these onto our bike. All right, before we get to the bike, I forgot about one more part. We have our Custom Dynamics wiring harness. So if you're not using the Shark Demon headlight, which includes this harness, you're going to have to buy this separate. This is part number 2120-1344. It's also right there at volunteeraudio.com. You'll see a link where you buy these to also add this in as a frequently bought item, and we'll also have a package that comes with it. So you're going to need that. This plugs in behind the headlight to make this completely plug and play. This is our brand new 2025 CVO Road Glide ST. This is our demo bike here at Volunteer Audio, and this is the first thing we've done to it. It's brand new. Nothing else has been done. There'll be a huge series, a bunch of things coming about this bike, a bunch of additions from audio to exhaust to lighting. So you're going to want to definitely subscribe to Volunteer Audio to see the rest. Let's start by pulling this fairing apart. First thing we're going to do is we're going to pull off these upper fairing grills. You're going to need a pry tool. You want something that's not going to scratch your paint to go in behind this grill and to just pry out. As you pry out, it's going to release a clip on each side. You definitely don't want to pry out at the bottom, because at the bottom there are some clips that are easy to break. So we don't want to pry out down there, just at the top. Let's go to our other grill and let's do the same thing again. Normally I put a little pressure with my hand at the bottom to keep it from trying to pop out. Bringing out these 2 clips on the grill. We'll set it over to the side. Now we're going to need very, very few tools for this. Harley's made these fairings pretty easy to take apart. We're going to use a T25 torque screwdriver, and we're going to start removing a couple bolts here from our inner fairing. Let's start with this lower bolt here. This is the lowest bolt on the inner fairing on the right side. We're going to pull it out. We do not have to pull the one above it out. You can leave it in place, but there's one more right behind that speaker grill we just removed. So let's remove that screw. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Lower inner fairing bolt. And the upper bolt. Now in this case, we're going to leave our factory headlight in. So I'm going to show you how to install these lights with the factory headlight. We have another video where we went over how to do this with the Shark Demon headlight series as well. I'm using a bolt organizer to put all my bolts in so I don't lose any of them. And at the end, I know I've put them all back in. All right, so we're going to move over to the outer fairing. First, we're going to remove the hardware holding our windshield on. So more T25 Torx bolts. Each one of these bolts is going to have a little rubber grommet That just isolates the bolt from the windshield, keeping you from cracking it. You want to hold on to those because we're going to put those back on the same way that they came off. 2 on each side. Set your windshield over to the side, put your bolts in your organizer. And now we've got a few more bolts that just got exposed. So we have 3 more on each side at this windshield bracket or mount. So let's go ahead and pull those out. Same thing on the other side. All right, now that those are off, we're going to go to the front of this trim and we're going to pull out right here around this vent. There's a clip on each side we're going to pull out to release. That clip and that clip. I'm going to set these to the side as well. And now we've released this piece of trim and these 2 rubber parts here. They will slide off if you're not careful. Let's set that over here on our table as well. All right, so now that we've got all that out, we've got 2 more locations, actually 4 more bolts that have been exposed. We're going to do the ones that are going straight down here next. Now there's only going to be 2 more holding it after this. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a fender protector over my fender because I'm about to pull this fairing off and I don't want to drop anything and damage my front fender. You want to do that as well at home, especially if you drop your screwdriver or any of your screws or anything else in here. We'll be taking that headlight out. We don't want to drop it on it either. All right, so now that we have that fender protector, we're ready to remove these last 2 bolts. There's 1 on each side here. Now this is the last one, so keep a little bit of pressure against the fairing so it doesn't fall off. And we're going to take our fairing and we're just going to kind of wiggle it a little. I'm going to pull out on each side to get it around our speaker pods. And now we should be able to just come forward and take that fairing off. Let's set it to the side and make sure we don't drop it or damage it. All right, so at this point, all we're going to do is we're going to be pulling our headlight out so we can plug this harness in to get access to plug in our side turn signals. So to get the headlight out, there are going to be a total of 6 bolts, and we've moved up to a T27. You can also use a T30 that's going to fit into these bolts. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the 2 at the bottom. I'm going to do the recessed bolts on the top of the headlight. These are very tight. 1 more on the other side. All right, 2 more bolts here on the front. That's all we got left holding our headlight on. I'll remove those. Now I'm holding the headlight in with my hand while I remove this last bolt, keeping it from falling out once this one comes out. Now I've got a couple bolts that are still just kind of hanging out on top of the headlight. So as I pull the headlight forward, I want to grab both of those bolts. And we're going to come on forward with it. We're going to unplug our headlight connector. To do that, all we did was press in on that little black button on top, and that released it and allowed us to unplug it. Let's set our headlight over to the side. All right, so because we're using that factory headlight again, we're going to use this adapter, part number 21201344. So this is just a little plug-and-play adapter that's just going to plug right in to that headlight connector. Now, I think Harley's a little crazy with how long they've made all this harnessing. So normally, I'm going to take this harness, I'm going to unclip it here and here, feed it back through and hide it behind here. So I'm going to grab a tool and do that. Just doesn't make sense to have that much wiring up over top. So I'm going to unplug this as I pull that through. I relocate that right here with the rest of this factory wiring. Just kind of pulling it to one side, back to the other. You don't need nearly this much lead. And as I get it pulled back up in here, I'm going to plug in our adapter again. So that's going to give us a little less here to try to fight with and contend with as we go back together. All right, so at this point, we're going to go ahead and get our new side light ready to go on. It's going to bolt right there. So we're going to remove this torque screw and that 7/16 or 11 millimeter screw. Again, T25. And that actually goes into the hardware on this, this side fairing. So if you don't have these, you will use that included bolt and serrated nut. Now we're going to take out that front bolt. So when you unbolt that front bolt, there's a good chance this bar, which goes down to the engine guard, is going to shift forward. And when it does that, it's going to make it hard to line up your bolt. So you can take another screwdriver, just kind of go up between here, and then use that to pry it backwards to line up your bolt. So I'm going to let that hang there for a second. Start my bolt in my bracket. Get to where I'm going to start it. Now I will move that back to allow me to get this to start nice and easy and straight. There we go, I've got it started now. And now I'm going to line up that back bolt. So I've got that started and tight. Let's go and tighten up that front bolt as well. All right, so now we're going to take this long wire they give us. We're going to undo the bread tie to it. We're going to make sure that it goes over our light. And then we're going to take this lead. We're going to stick it right up through here, just in front of this end of the speaker pod in that bracket, pulling it up into the fairing. This is going to plug into that other harness. As you work this back and forth, it will get a little bit of room here that'll let it go up into this area. All right, so now I want you to take this wire, bring it on up here, come up behind this bracket. There's a little hole you can pass it through. Bring that around to here. Now, when you look at the wire that's on the end of this, they're either going to have a brown wire or a purple wire. What's awesome about that is you have the same color code on here. So the one with the brown wire is going to plug into this one. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'm going to take this wire back through this little hole so I can get all this tucked up in here later, make it nice and clean. Now let's move on and do the other side, and we'll zip tie this up here in a few minutes before we put the headlight back in. All right, so same thing over here. I'm going to go ahead and remove the hardware that we know is going to bolt in our light. Got that 7/16 bolt out first. I'm going to remove this rear Torx bolt. All right, I've done a few of these so far, and it seems like sometimes this front bracket moves, sometimes it doesn't. But when it does, the easiest thing to do, just take your screwdriver, put it in between, so you can pry it right out there where it's not going to be a problem. And now putting our Torx bolt back in, seeing if we can get it lined up. There's a little metal bracket you got to pull forward to get that to work if it doesn't want to go easily. All right, so I got it started, and I'm going to get it tightened up. Tighten that front bolt all the way down. All right, again, starting with our wire coming from the back of the light, we're just going to twist this tie, bring this wire over that light bracket, up between this pod and the front. This just gives you a good area to get that switch to fit through, or that plug to fit through that the wire would not. Now it lets our wire come back here. Again, we're going to go up over this vent, through this passageway. We're going to take our other lighting adapter, bring it back into that same passageway here. This one has a purple wire. This one has a purple wire. We know we're on the right side, and we know our turn signals are going to flash correctly. All right, I'm going to get a couple little zip ties. We'll zip tie that up, and we'll be ready to put our headlight back on. All right, so now we're just going to take that excess wire, folding it up like it was when it had the bread tie on it, and you're welcome to just take it and secure it to another wire that's in here. We want everything to be done clean. We don't want it hanging out. We don't want it to look like somebody didn't care when they do any future work. Same thing on this side. All right, so once we have that done, we're just going to snip off the excess of that zip tie with a flush cutter. I'll grab my headlight, and we're going to go back in with that headlight now. All right, so we're going to take our headlight, we're going to plug it into our new adapter harness. All right, so now we can just put our headlight back up here. I like to start all of these bolts before I tighten any of them all the way. A total of 6. We've got our 2 that recess in up here at the top. Now we're tightening them all down all the way. All right, so at that point our headlight's back in. It's time to go back together and put our fairing back on. All right, so as we go on, you want to kind of be conscious of the fact that you're trying to go over top of your new lights. So as we go on, we're going to be above those, making sure we clear those brackets. Doing that on each side. And then as we get up here, making sure we go behind these clips. Or as we line everything up, we'll go ahead and put one of these bolts in to hold it. Same thing over here, just making sure we're behind all the clips on the side. Everything looks to be lined up well. There's some little tabs you got to line up as you go from the inner to the outer. Back on. Also, another thing to keep in mind, there's a little bulge on the front of the headlight that your fairing has to go over. If it's not over it, these bolts will not be lining up. But I'm going to go ahead and continue on with our bolts inside the speaker area here. All right, so back here to the outer fairing. We're going to put these 2 bolts that go straight down in. Making sure they're both tight. And we'll start putting our windshield trim back on. Double checking these up here now. All right, these little clips are loose. You could drop them, knock them off, just slide them back on if you do. Drop that in place. I'm gonna go ahead and snap this piece of trim in. All right, so we've got 6 more screws to go in, holding these brackets back on that you used to, or the mounts for our windshield, 3 on each side. So get all those tight. All right, so now all we gotta do is put our windshield on, then we'll snap our speaker grills on. We're really close to getting to check out these new lights, see them in action. As you've seen, very little tools have been needed. A T25, a T27, a little tool to pry out on our speaker grills to get those off, and a couple zip ties and a flush cutter. I mean, just how much easier could this get? We did have an 11 millimeter or 7/16 nut that we had to use, or bolt had to be removed with a socket. Other than that, basic hand tools. Definitely something you could do on your own in just a little bit of time. Don't let this fairing scare you. It's not that hard to take off. It's not that hard to put back on, and it lines up really, really well. Just make sure you keep up with your bolts and make sure that you put them all back in. If Harley put it in there, it needed to be there. All right, let's get these speaker grills on. I'll show you some things on those real quick. There's a little rubber gasket on the back. If you see it's popped out anywhere, make sure you push it back in before you go back on. These little plastic tabs are easy to break on the bottom. Just don't break them. Push them down and then snap in your clips. It's like that. Very, very easy. Same thing on this side. Making sure that your gasket is snapped in everywhere it goes. All right, so we are back together. I'm going to remove our fender protector and we'll turn on the ignition and check out these new lights. All right, so I love the look. Now, I haven't even turned them on yet, but we have these black aluminum fins that go great with the engine, all of my black accents, a smoked lens, and it looks like it could be factory. Let me go ahead and cut it on. We'll see what it looks like when we get that daytime running light on. So as you see, when the headlight comes on, so do our side lights, and they're bright. I mean, they are probably as bright or brighter than that factory headlight. So we're gonna have extra visibility there. Let's go and turn on those emergency flashers and see what the turn signal looks like. Awesome. Very, very bright. Goes along with that factory. So we had pretty good side. Now we have even more projection that we're turning, that we're getting over in that lane. Last thing we want to do is have somebody not see us. And if you did just a single one, you're going to see that that one's going to flash, the other's going to stay white. Anything we can do to get more visibility is going to make your ride safer. That makes it more enjoyable because we don't want to get run over and we want to be seen. So Custom Dynamics does a great job. All of their lights are lifetime warranted, and as you see, they make it so easy with full plug and play installation capabilities without voiding those factory warranties. Thank you for watching. You can buy these right now at volunteeraudio.com. There have been some links that have popped up during the video. It's also in the description, but we make it easy. Go to volunteeraudio.com, just look at the lighting category, put in your bike, and these will come right up. We also offer these with additional turn signals and Shark Demon headlight kits, so check those out as well. If you want to make everything brighter, that Shark Demon headlight is amazingly bright. All right, you're going to want to make sure that you subscribe to Volunteer Audio on YouTube. You want to follow us on Facebook for the latest in Harley accessories, whether it be audio, exhaust, lighting. Volunteer Audio's got you covered. We're going to show you the latest products as they come out. We're going to show you how to install them, and we're going to show them what they look like after they're done. So you make that right decision the first time with your money. If you have questions, if you need help with a purchase, give our sales team a call. We'll go over your bike, your build, your budget. We'll put together whatever it is you want, whether it be a lighting kit, exhaust, and audio. Give us a call, 1-844-30-AUDIO. And when you buy from Volunteer Audio, not only do we handle all warranty issues in the future, if you ever had one, like the lifetime warranty on the lights, we give you free lifetime tech support. So as you do this install, if you have questions, if you get stuck, you give us a call. We're here to help you through that process. Leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think about these new lights. I think they look awesome. They're made for the bike. I've been waiting on some new lights that weren't a carryover from some other model. And I think these bikes, one thing that was missing was those side lights that we had on those 15 to 23 Road Glides. I'm glad to see that extra lighting there now. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, God bless.